During the darkest days of World War II, courageous resistance fighters across Europe faced heavily armed occupying forces with little more than ingenuity and scrap metal. Desperation bred incredible innovation, leading to the creation of clandestine arsenals hidden right under the noses of the enemy. Today we examine the definitive catalog of every improvised and homemade weapon that armed the underground resistance. Błyskawica is the first weapon we have, engineered by the Polish Home Army in 1943 to provide vital firepower during urban uprisings. It was designed to fire the standard 9mm parabellum cartridge, allowing fighters to utilize captured German ammunition. The weapon featured a tubular receiver and a folding stock, heavily inspired by the British Sten and the German MP40, making it highly concealable. Approximately 700 units were secretly manufactured in underground workshops hidden across Warsaw before the famous 1944 uprising. Despite its crude appearance, the weapon proved remarkably reliable in close-quarters combat, serving as a testament to wartime engineering. WW2 is the next weapon we have, representing another remarkable Polish submachine gun created by resistance member Henryk Strupolk in 1943. Unlike many improvised firearms that fired from an open bolt, this weapon uniquely utilized a closed bolt mechanism, which increased its accuracy significantly. Chambered primarily for the standard 9mm parabellum round, it was designed to be compact and easily hidden beneath a standard civilian coat. Only about 11 of these intricate weapons were ever produced due to the immense difficulty of machining complex parts in secret rural facilities. The weapon prominently featured the letters BH engraved on the frame, standing for Battaliony Chilhowski, the rural resistance movement that deployed them. Choro's Minot submachine gun is what we have next, a fascinating piece of partisan engineering originating from the dense forests of the Eastern Front. Built by the Chor's Minot Partisan unit in 1943, this weapon was heavily based on the Soviet PSH-41 design. The fighters crafted these guns using salvaged parts from destroyed vehicles, discarded bicycle frames, and any suitable steel piping they could scavenge. It fired the Soviet 7.62 by 25mm Tokarev cartridge, meaning ammunition could easily be sourced from airdrops or captured supplies. While extremely heavy and lacking refined ergonomics, it provided devastating automatic fire during ambushes against occupying supply convoys. KOPPAL submachine gun is the next piece we will examine, standing as an exceptionally rare firearm produced by the Polish underground. This weapon was designed and manufactured by an underground factory operating entirely under the cover of a legitimate civilian metalworking shop. The designers took heavy inspiration from the German MP28, utilizing a wooden stock and a distinct side-mounted magazine well. It operated on a simple blowback action and utilized the ubiquitous 9mm parabellum ammunition to ensure maximum compatibility with captured enemy resources. Only a very small handful of these submachine guns were ever completed, making them one of the most obscure technological achievements of the resistance. Sten copies, specifically the Danish Moskin pistol and the French Maquis Stens, are what we have next, forming the backbone of Western European uprisings. Because the original British Sten was deliberately designed to be built in rudimentary bicycle shops, it was the absolute perfect candidate for illicit reproduction. Resistance gunsmiths meticulously reverse-engineered dropped British weapons, recreating them using locally sourced commercial steel tubing and basic underground welding equipment. The Danish resistance famously produced highly refined copies that often surpassed the quality of the British originals, incorporating better springs and smoother mechanical actions. Firing 9mm ammunition, these underground clones provided vital automatic firepower to partisan groups who would otherwise have relied solely on civilian hunting rifles. Ghost vis Radom pistols are next on our list, representing one of the most daring inside smuggling operations of World War II. Before the war, the Polish FB Radom factory produced the highly regarded Vis 35 pistol, which the occupying German forces immediately took over for their own use. Polish workers systematically smuggled pistol components out of the factory right past German guards, hiding them in lunchboxes and false bottom canvas bags. Because the original factory stamps and serial numbers were left off these smuggled parts, the fully assembled and untraceable weapons became known as ghosts. These 9mm handguns became the premier sidearm for the Polish Home Army, prized for their exceptional reliability and powerful symbolic defiance. The Obrez is the next weapon we have, serving as a brutally effective close-quarters firearm, heavily favored by Soviet partisans operating behind enemy lines. The weapon was created by taking a standard-issue Mosin Nagant bolt-action rifle and drastically sawing down both the steel barrel and the wooden stock. This rough modification transformed a long, cumbersome infantry rifle into a devastating pistol-sized weapon that could easily be concealed beneath heavy winter clothing. Because it fired the massive 7.62 by 54mm rimmed rifle cartridge from an extremely short barrel, it produced an enormous blinding muzzle flash. While wildly inaccurate beyond a few meters, the shortened rifle was an absolutely lethal tool for assassinations, trench clearing, and sudden forest ambushes. French zip guns are what we will discuss next, representing the absolute most desperate tier of improvised resistance firearms created during the conflict. These crude, single-shot weapons were often manufactured by the French Maquis, using standard plumbing pipes, scrap wood, and heavy-duty rubber bands or door springs. They were typically designed to fire a single .22 caliber hunting round, or sometimes a larger captured pistol cartridge if the steel pipe was strong enough. The primary tactical purpose of a zip gun was never prolonged combat, but rather to serve as a quiet assassination tool to quickly eliminate a lone sentry. Once the single shot was fired, the partisan would immediately discard the improvised weapon and seize the superior standard-issue rifle of the fallen enemy. Cytaloka, officially known as the WZR-42, is the next device we have, functioning as a brilliantly disguised explosive device of the Polish resistance. This improvised hand grenade was deliberately manufactured to look exactly like a standard commercial bottle of Cetyl, a popular metal cleaning agent used throughout occupied Europe. Inside the innocent-looking casing, the resistance packed highly volatile Cheddite explosive alongside metal fragments designed to inflict maximum shrapnel damage upon final detonation. It utilized an innovative friction-based delay fuse, developed entirely in underground laboratories to provide a highly reliable blast timer of about 4 seconds. Over 350,000 of these camouflage grenades were secretly produced, proving absolutely vital during the intense urban combat of the Warsaw Uprising. Filipinka, designated as the WZET-40, is what we have next, standing as another triumph of clandestine Polish ordnance production. Unlike the disguised Cytaloka, this weapon was shaped much like a traditional military fragmentation grenade and featured a highly effective and sensitive impact fuse. The outer casing was cast from bakelite or aluminum and filled with stolen or homemade explosives, making it incredibly deadly against light vehicles and dense infantry concentrations. The sophisticated impact fuse meant the weapon detonated the exact moment it struck a hard surface, giving enemy soldiers absolutely no time to throw it back. Over 240,000 of these precise impact grenades were manufactured in secret workshops, clearly demonstrating the immense industrial capacity of the underground state. Carbidoka is the next improvised explosive we have, recognized as a terrifyingly loud and dangerous device used extensively during heavy street skirmishes. The name originates from the primary component of the weapon, which was a standard-issue calcium carbide lamp commonly used by coal miners of the era. Resistance fighters would tightly pack the heavy metal lamps with gunpowder, volatile chemicals, and jagged pieces of scrap iron or shattered glass. When ignited and thrown, the heavy metal casing would violently rupture, creating a massive concussive blast and a deadly wave of improvised shrapnel. While highly unstable and sometimes dangerous to the user, these makeshift pipe bombs were essential for defending civilian barricades and halting advancing infantry columns. Enhanced Molotov cocktails are what we will cover next, serving as the universal symbol of partisan resistance that were significantly upgraded by wartime chemists. While the basic weapons simply utilized gasoline in a glass bottle with a flaming rag, underground laboratories sought to make them far more lethal against heavy armored vehicles. Chemists added motor oil, tar, or dissolved rubber to the fuel mixture, causing the burning liquid to stick aggressively to tank armor and engine grills, to eliminate the dangerous need to manually light a rag in the dark. They developed advanced chemical ignition systems using sulfuric acid and potassium chlorate that burst into flames upon shattering. These chemically enhanced incendiaries proved incredibly successful at blinding tank optics, suffocating crews, and disabling heavy armor in the narrow, ruined streets of occupied cities. Zohr K flamethrower, commonly known as the K pattern, is the next system we have, functioning as a formidable anti-armor weapon built entirely from scavenged parts. Designed by the Polish Home Army in 1943, it was constructed using standard agricultural backpack sprayers, commercial plumbing valves, and heavy steel gas cylinders. The ignition system was brilliantly improvised, using standard blank pistol cartridges to reliably ignite the highly pressurized stream of mixed flammable fuel. With a maximum effective range of roughly 15 meters, it was incredibly dangerous to operate but devastatingly effective for clearing out enemy bunkers and fortified buildings. Approximately 1,000 of these terrifying weapons were manufactured and successfully deployed to secure vital urban positions during the intense combat of the Warsaw Uprising. The Kubu armored car is what we have next, representing undoubtedly the largest and most ambitious improvised weapon constructed during the entire conflict. Built in just 13 days during the Warsaw Uprising, the formidable vehicle was constructed by welding thick, sloped steel plates directly onto the chassis of a heavy Chevrolet truck. The sloping armor was specifically designed to deflect small arms fire and light shrapnel, providing crucial protection for the 8 to 12 combat fighters carried safely inside. It was armed with a Soviet machine gun and the very K-pattern flamethrower we just discussed, turning it into a fearsome mobile urban assault platform. Remarkably, this single homemade armored vehicle successfully spearheaded a major assault on the heavily fortified Warsaw University campus and survived the war entirely intact. Warsaw slingshots are the next improvised tools we have, effectively serving as highly creative siege artillery for the heavily outgunned resistance forces. Constructed from discarded truck leaf springs and heavy industrial rubber belts, these massive catapults were bolted securely to the concrete floors of ruined buildings. They were specifically engineered to silently launch the heavy Famapinka and Sitaloqua grenades across wide city streets and directly over tall enemy barricades. Because they utilized mechanical tension rather than explosive gunpowder, they created absolutely no muzzle flash or acoustic signature, making it impossible for enemy snipers to locate them. This ancient siege concept, updated with modern explosives, allowed partisan fighters to continuously bombard German positions while remaining completely hidden behind solid cover. Caltrops, widely known as crow's feet, are what we have next, acting as a simple yet highly effective area denial weapon utilized heavily across occupied Europe. These devices were created by welding 4 heavy iron nails or sharpened steel spikes together in a specific tetrahedral shape so that one sharp point always faced upward. Resistance members would silently scatter thousands of these iron spikes across major supply routes, critical intersections, and known patrol paths under the complete cover of darkness. The hardened steel points were incredibly efficient at instantly puncturing the heavy rubber tires of enemy transport trucks and fast-moving motorcycle courier vehicles. By disabling lead vehicles in narrow country lanes, the spikes effectively halted entire military convoys, perfectly setting the stage for devastating ambushes by hidden partisan forces. Locomotive derailleurs are the final item we have, serving as the ultimate strategic tool used to cripplingly disrupt the Axis military supply chain. Also known as derailment shoes, these heavy wedges were meticulously cast from stolen iron or precisely cut from scavenged sections of heavy railway track. Partisans would stealthily clamp these heavy devices onto the outside rails of critical train routes, specifically targeting the curved sections of track running through remote forests. When a massive high-speed troop transport or supply train struck the steel wedge, the wheels were forcibly guided completely off the rails, causing catastrophic crashes. These simple but highly engineered pieces of metal successfully destroyed hundreds of tons of irreplaceable war material without requiring a single ounce of explosive powder.